Congressional District. Randy Weingarten, President of the the American Federation of Teachers. Ruben Murillo, Jr., President of the Nevada State Educational Association. And Desiree DaCosta, a junior here at NSC, who serves as the 2016-2017 Student Body President. And of course, the Honorable Ann Holton, former Secretary of Education for Virginia and wife of Vice Presidential nominee Tim Kaine. Let's start off with you, Ms. Holton. Please share with us some opening remarks about what you see as some of the critical challenges facing our students today and how Hillary Clinton and your husband, Tim Kaine, are planning to address these challenges.
Well, thank you, Michael. First, I'll just say how thrilled I am to be here. This is my first campaign event in Nevada, and what I love to do most is talk to teachers, students, educators, and hear your thoughts and suggestions. And really what Hillary has asked me to do on the campaign is to talk to teachers and others and bring ideas back. So I'm thrilled to get to do that here today and to be with this wonderful panel. So thank you to Nevada State College, and thank you to the great panel. Jackie, we're so excited that we're going to send Jackie to conference. Hillary needs great partners, and you will be one of them. And my husband has a statistic, I don't know if you've been using this, but 19% of our Congress is women, which makes us 75th among the nations of the world, behind Iraq, behind Afghanistan. We need you. We need you for all kinds of reasons, but especially because of that. And Ruben is a really wonderful leader here in Nevada, and I'm so excited to get to be with him. And Randy is the extraordinary leader nationally of AFT, so fun to be with her. And Michael and Desiree, the most important people in the room, right? The teachers and the students. So it's just a pleasure to be with you. So my story, very briefly, because I really want to be able to hear from everybody else, is that I am a product of public education. I went to public schools all over Virginia when I was. I went all over because my dad moved us because he was elected governor of Virginia in 1970. He was actually the first Republican governor of Virginia in 100 years, back when it was closer to the party of Lincoln, at least in the South at the time. And a key part of his agenda was improving race relations in Virginia, and we had an opportunity in his very first year in office to help integrate the formerly all African American Richmond City schools. And my siblings and I had the experience of being, on the one hand in the news in a big splashy way because we were breaking with tradition of Southern governors leading massive resistance. And on the other hand, just going to school with a bunch of 6th graders and 7th graders and everybody worrying about the math homework and not wanting to take volleyball in PE. And it was a great learning experience in all kinds of ways, but made me committed to public education in a very seared-in way early on. And my children, Tim's and my children, went to those same great Richmond City schools, got a great education. Including arts and music education. Our public schools, I'm so proud of them, despite all the challenges, financial and otherwise, have really maintained that commitment. And now I've got actually 1 Marine and 2 artists, so what can I say? So when my boss, my most recent boss, Terry McAuliffe, asked me to serve as Secretary of Education, it came from very deep in me, and I was very honored to serve. Work with my colleagues in Virginia, teachers, school superintendents, PTA, school board members, and we had, I could talk lots about what we did, but I'll brag about one thing, which is we recognized a need to reinvest in public education, and we were successful with Governor McAuliffe's leadership in investing over $1 billion in new money for education over the biennium. In a not easy, challenging, in a challenging budget time, but we were able to make that. And that was K-12, pre-K, K-12 through higher ed, but the vast majority of it was K-12 education. And Randy and I have been talking backstage about there's lots of things we can do, but they all take money. So I was very, very proud that we were able to help reinvest. And I know that Hillary is very, very committed to reinvesting in pre-K through K-12 through higher ed. Here we are at a great higher ed institution, and you all know her policies on trying to make higher ed accessible to everybody. We actually were seeing increases in the gap between haves and have-nots in higher ed attainment. We've got to change that. And her policies about free community college to debt-free four-year college, her policies about supporting pre-K, her proposals for the K-12 world will help smooth those pathways for all. And we'll talk more about them as we go.
Jackie, you're running for Congress, and one of the key issues that distinguishes you from your opponent is education. Our schools, like my basic academy, focus on preparing students for whatever the future may take them, or wherever the future may take them. But sometimes it can be hard to agree on what that might be. Can you tell us your plans to ensure that students have access to education that will prepare them for the jobs of the future?
Well, thank you. I'm also very proud and privileged to be here. Although I wasn't raised here, I was born and raised in Chicago. I've lived here almost 40 years, and my daughter, born and raised here, attended David Cox Elementary in Henderson, Bob Miller Middle School, and graduated 3 years ago from Coronado High School. And I want to tell you what I know about the schools that she went to is that she had the most amazing teachers. They had wonderful principals, and they had the kind of environment that allowed them to teach to their kids and inspire them in ways that to pursue what they wanted to do, whether it was become a musician, become an artist, become a physical therapist, a plumber, a pipe fitter, whatever. And so today my daughter is one of the few students. Her dream was to go to Princeton, and so she's there. She has other friends who are daggers. Yeah. But she has other friends who are in the electrical workers apprentice program, and that's the right thing for them too. So what I know on a local level is when we allow teachers and principals to do their best work, to train them and allow them to inspire their kids to be their best selves, that is how America succeeds in the world, and how we innovate, create the next microwave oven, which I personally think is the greatest invention of the last century. Okay, we went to college, no microwave. How'd you make a baked potato? You had to bake it and wait for an hour. So, but those will be the thinkers, creators, and builders of the future. So what I want to do is be sure we invest from pre-K, giving those kids a language and vocabulary skills, and allowing our teachers and principals that freedom. They have to have standards, of course, but that freedom to pursue that in the right way for their student population.
I gotta hit you with another one though. I want you, let me rephrase that. Will you elaborate on what exactly you think workforce development and career training looks like for those jobs of the future?
Oh, well, I think actually it starts, I was a woman in technology, so I have to say I went to college in the 70s when I was learned computer programming. You can only learn it in the math department, and many of you here, my age or older, remember those computer punch cards. That's what we learned on. So I think what we have to do, again, is create programs in the school. We have to make sure that we let kids know that technology is something that's creative and not frightening, especially for young girls. Math and computers, they're creative. They say, oh, it's so boring. It's not boring. It's creative. You're working with people. You're giving them access to the kinds of things they need to do their job. I always like to say make them work smarter and not harder. And I think, again, it kind of goes down to that. So I'd like to see not just STEM, but STEAM in our school, because the arts are... So I really would like to be sure that in some ways we remove the stigma, especially from our young women on math, science, engineering, and technology, because those careers are really wonderful careers. They're the jobs of the future, and they'll be creating the next. Could you imagine the phones would have be small, better than your computer, just in your pocket? So I don't know what the inventions of the future are, but I know there's young kids out there waiting to create it if we spark that inside them.
Randy, you've been a leader and an advocate and an innovator in education for years. Years is an understatement.
She started as a mere child.
I do feel as old as that question is.
Can you tell us about what you've, in your vast experience, I'm just going to build on it, what some of the challenges and innovations that face our current students and their teachers, both nationwide and here in Nevada?
So I would say that probably Ruben is going to be much better about here in Nevada than I would, except for I've actually spent now a number of times in Nevada in the last couple of years because my former vice president of my first presidency of the UFT, which was local 2 in the AFT, our first vice president, a guy by the name of Richard Miller, who moved to Nevada. And Richie kept saying to me, you need to spend some time here. I love when teachers tell you, particularly retirees, what to do. They do it all the time to me. You need to spend some time here. You need to really understand what's going on in terms of Nevada. And this is what I see in Nevada. Nevada is a microcosm of the United States of America. It is a place that went boom, then after the recession went bust, and now because of people like Ruben and Michael and Jackie, we're creating the kind of futures that everyone in this room wants. That's what Hillary Clinton is running for president now. But what does that mean? It means that right now, because the money, and Secretary Holton and said this, because the money is not invested in schools to do all the things that schools need to do, what happens is that kids get left behind. Because we don't reach kids where they are, we pretend that we're going to reach them where we want them to be. And what Jackie just said about how we help create creativity and inspire kids and move them, which is frankly, we know you're a rap. You are an amazing teacher. You do this every day and have for years at basic high school, and you do it for other teachers. But we need to do this for all kids. That means we need to meet them where they are. That means if our kids are poor, or if our kids' parents have not, don't have what they need in their own households, we need to make sure we're feeding kids in the morning. We need to make sure we have wraparound services. We need to make sure that if parents are working at night, what are we going to do to help kids do their homework? We need to give up the ghost that we're not doing all of this for kids. That means dealing with kids' well-being. That's one of the things we have to do. The second thing is, and Ann said this before, powerful learning in a diverse setting. Think about her experience in terms of Richmond. Think about what we need to do in terms of integration and ensuring that kids know other kids so that we celebrate diversity instead of having what Trump is doing, which is fear and bigotry and misogyny and fearing the other. And that means doing the kinds of things. And it was pretty courageous what her father did. And it's pretty courageous what Ann went through. And then engaging in powerful learning. In a way, like, can you imagine, I see this in New York City schools all the time. There's a school that is a CTE school, career tech ed school, that has a herb garden in the roof and a tilapia garden in the basement. Think about what that means. Exactly. With or without the microwave. Think about what that means for kids. And 90% of the kids that go to a modern career tech ed school graduate from high school, and 70% of them go to college. So if we start thinking about who our kids are and how we meet their needs, their well-being needs, engaging in powerful learning, thinking about our public schools as the melting pots they ought to be, as the opportunity agents and the way to really maintain and promote diversity. And then, this is why I love Anna Holton and Hillary Clinton. They think about how do we prepare teachers so that they are equipped to deal with all of this. Not just to do what Nike said, throw the keys and say, go do it. How do we prepare them? And how do we do this in a collaborative way so that parents feel really welcome in schools? So I don't know if that answered your question, but it is really a matter of understanding the challenges, equipping people to be prepared for it, and engaging kids so that they want to go to school. And all of that takes resources here and in so many other places in the United States.
Yes, you answered the question. And you did mention this political cycle. And you've seen, in the past, you've seen some tough races before. How does this particular election stack up with those other previous?
So, this election is in a class all of itself. I am a former social studies teacher from Brooklyn, New York. There's always a New Yorker or two in Nevada. I'm really worried about our democracy. I have never seen a major party candidate do what Donald Trump has done, particularly in this last debate that was just held in Nevada. We are a country that is built on democratic principles of civic and civil society and of the rule of law. There is no one in a major party